Okay, this is part two. Welcome back. The first thing I'm going to do is save it. And again, what you'll notice is I'm not going to be going to a lot of these menu bars items. It'll take time, and I really some of the easier ones I really think that it would be beneficial for you to memorize. Some of them would be that you would want to know is obviously save, and that would be Command S. Okay, and what this is doing is asking me where I want to save it. And for whatever reason, I'm finding that between semesters or during semesters, I find it easier just to save it in my download folder. And what we'll have is, here's this layout design, here is web layout design. And I'm going to say a new folder, and I'm going to call this Gestalt Images 2015. And I'm going to create it. It's created, there it is. And I'm going to go ahead, and it's a little bit off of the board, but I'm going to go save. Okay, and it's asking me, okay, do you want to embed CC profiles? I'm just going to leave it alone. Do I want to create a PDF that's capable? Yes, I do. Do I want a subset of the fonts? Yes, I do. Everything is pretty cool here, so I'm just going to say OK. And so now what I've done is, and you can see right here, it's saved. Everything's there. So let's go ahead and let me talk a little bit about Illustrator and how it works. So I'm going to click on this first artboard, and you don't see me click, but trust me, I've clicked on it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command 0. And Command 0 creates an image that blows it up to the size of the window that I have on my desktop. If I would do Command 1, Command 1 is the actual size of the image. So I have two shortcut keys. I have Command 0, where it blows it up to the size of the window. Command 1 creates an actual size of the image for me. So I'm going to go Command 0. Whoops, hit the wrong key. Okay, Command 0. Okay, now the other thing that I can do is, so I can see the actual measurements, I'm going to hit Command R. And what that does is that turns on my rulers. And my rulers, the X and Y coordinate, and you remember on our first exam I kept asking you, what is the X and Y coordinate? Well, the X coordinate is the width, the Y coordinate is the height. And what I can do is, if I go and press and drag, what I can do is I can pull guides out of my rulers. And I can get rid of them easy enough. I can go here and I can go to guides, and either I can lock them so they don't change, and they're locked right now, or I can clear them. And so now they're all cleared. The other thing that I can do is to take and use, when I create shapes, I get these little green lines. And what that enables me to do is to align things right away. But if I don't have them aligned, what I can do is I have this align panel right up here, and if I click on it, what I can do is I can take and I can center them, which would make them stack one on top of the other. Or what I could do is I could distribute them, or I can align them on centers vertically. And so I'm going to, oops, I got to select all, Command A, select all, then come to align and click right here, distribute vertically. Now I have them all aligned. Okay, now what I could do is come here, and what I could say is distribute objects. Okay, and this is what has happened. Okay, what has happened is I have distributed them according to the page. And so if I click on this, align to, I can say align to selection or align to artboard. And what you'll notice is right now it's aligned to artboard. What I'm going to do is deselect that. So I'm going to say align to selection. Okay, and then I'm going to move them, deselect, just click anywhere in the artboard. I'm going to move them again a little bit so I can run through that again for you. Select all, Command A, and now I'm going to go to align, and I am going to go to vertical align on center. Now I could do it on top as well. It works, okay? So I could do that, but if they're different heights, I could do align on center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute them horizontally, and I'm going to click right here. And what that's done is that's given me an equal space between the objects. And the reason that it did that is, remember, is that I have a line on selection. Okay. Now, if I would take and select the object, and I'm using my selection tool, okay, what I could do is I could take and hold down my option key, and if I click on my option key, do you see how that turns into a double-headed arrow? Well, I'm going to hold that down, hold my shift key down once I start moving it, and what that's going to do is that's going to keep it vertically aligned with the top. Okay, I'm going to release my mouse, release my two keys. Okay, and again, what I can do is Option, click, start moving it. And I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and now I have aligned. And look, that is a little bit odd. If I want to center it, it tells me it's centered right now. Release my mouse, and then release my keys. Okay, let's say take the next one. Option key, start moving it over, hold down my Shift key. That's going to constrain the alignment. Now I have 3 objects set. And I am going to release my mouse and release my keys. Now, let's talk about the shape a little bit. What you're noticing here is that in my selection tool, I'm having these things called nodes that are appearing. And I have, how many do I have? I have 6 total plus 8. And if I kind of go over to the edge, what I could do is I can press and I can drag it. Now if I don't like how that's dragged, I can go Command Z, and that will put it right back where it needs to. If I want to, I could hold down my Shift key and start doing the same thing. And what that does is that will constrain my rotation to 45-degree angles. And you can kind of see that it kind of bounces around. Release my mouse, release my key. Okay, again, Command Z. Okay, this time what I can do is if I hold down my Shift key and press my mouse, and with that double-headed arrow, you see what happens? It is getting bigger, and it's holding it in proportion. The width and the height is proportion to one another. And that is okay. So I'm going to release my mouse, release my key. If I don't hold that Shift key down, you'll notice that I can create it any shape that I want. Okay, and it's kind of giving me a little bit of heads up on how it's aligning, and so that's good there. Now, if I'm in my selection tool, that's a whole different beast. What that allows me to do is to take and select my corners separately from one another. The selection tool selects everything at once. If I click on it, everything's selected. If I go ahead and use my direct selection tool and I deselect first, click anywhere in the artboard, what I can do is I can come and I can select one anchor point and move that any place that I want. Come over here and select this one. I can come over here and maybe center this or bring it up if I want to make an arrow. Okay, so now what I have is I'm using my direct selection tool. The other thing that I can do is I can grab a line. So instead of, and you'll notice nothing's selected, I'm going to make sure, click anywhere on the artboard to make sure nothing else is selected. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this one line down. And obviously the other lines are moving because they're connected to the line that I'm moving either up or down or over. Okay, so now I can do that. Okay, so, and if I wanted to go back to that rectangle, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, and I'm back to where I started. So, if I select a corner, it's solid. That means that that is selected. If it's hollow, which may be hard for you to see, that means that it's unselected. If I go to my selection tool, I click on it, I get the nodes. So that's how I'm able to take and deal with rectangles or anything with an angle or even an ellipse. Let's go ahead and let's play with the star tool just for a real brief moment, because on this video that's all I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on the option key, click once. Now what it's saying is, how many points do you want on that star? I'm going to say I want 8 points, and I'm going to say OK. So now I have a star with 8 points. I'm going to go to my selection tool, and you notice as soon as I select my selection tool, I can enlarge it. Okay, I can move it over if I choose. Okay, so that's chosen. Now if I want to change some of these angles in here, I can do that by using my direct selection tool. If I want one corner really big, I can do that. So a lot of times, you know, it's a lot easier rather than using a pen or draw, is maybe if I can get a shape that's close to what I want, maybe it's an easier way to take and work with the images. So anyway, so again, here's a weird little shape. Okay, it's complete, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it, and I'm going to save this video, and then we'll move on to the next video. So Command S, this is saved.